Hello and welcome to the next lecture. We finally arrived to our MongoDB. So today we're going to speak a little bit about our Mongo database and how to use it in Quarkus. And in the next lecture we're going to see a little bit about the Panache as well, how to use it with Panache. So we'll create, as usual, Quarkus main plugin create now Mongo client. We'll have a book resource with books, and then we have two extensions, REST-easy JSONB and MongoDB Client. So let's create a project. It won't take much. So you can see that we have two extensions here. Let's open up an IntelliJ IDEA, right? So if you have MongoDB up and running locally, or we actually will do it right now. So let's start our MongoDB with this line of code. So we can call it, for example, here. So yeah, docker run -ti -rm -port will be 270.17 and MongoDB for version 4.0. So we'll start a MongoDB. If you have one, you don't need to do it. If you don't have one, just use this line of code, but be sure that you have Docker up and running, of course. So so we created it. Let's go actually to our folder here. So we'll call it later. So let's go to IntelliJ IDEA and let's create actually a book service. I'm rarely do this, but in this case, just for clarity, we'll create a book service. So let's make it application scoped, of course, and then you can inject a Mongo client here. So this is the main resource that you'll be using with the Mongo. And let's create an add method, public void add, and we'll have here a book which is not present right now. So let's create a book here. So let's create a class called data book as always. So we have as public string title, public integer, what we have, pages, right? Something like this. So this time let's create such a constructor. Let's create an empty constructor and getters and setters just for this time. So here in add we'll supply a book here. And we'll call the Mongo client. So now we'll need to have a database. So you can list databases if you need to. You can I'll call a get database. So we'll create the books. And here you need to get a collection if you don't have one. We'll get a collection called books, right? So we'll have a books here. And this will be a Mongo collection of a document. And here you can add, I think, insert. Yeah, so you can insert one, and you'll need to specify a document. So let's create a new document that will be from org pson. So document, you can put, so we'll have a title, book title, and then document put pages, book pages, like this. Nothing special. So it's actually, we can call get title and get pages because we have our getters and setters, and actually make it private if needed. So yeah, like this. So now we can go to book service and insert our document like this. So yeah, that's basically it for the add. So let's actually create a method that will give us all the books. Public list of book get books, like this. And yeah, so we'll get Mongo. We can make a method from this thing here if needed. So get collection. Yeah, so let's create such a method that will be called get collection. And so we can call it here. So we can call get collection find. This will give us all the basically find operator documents, and what you can do with them is do the for documents for each loop, right? And then you can create a new array list of book like this, and you can call the document, so you can get from the document whatever you need. So for example, you can get a title. You can also specify the class. In our case, it can be string, for example, right? String class. And so you can create a new book here. So you can put a book set title like this, and the book set pages document get pages as well. So there is a way to modify it. There is a way to not use this, so you need to create a document each time comparing to Spring, where you just create a repository and you're ready to go with this. So this can be handled via the converters, which sadly you need to create by yourself. But in next video, we'll see the panache that will do all this magic for you. So for now, let's use it as is, and let's return books, right? So like this. Now we can, of course, inject our book service, right? Like this, and let's actually convert it to list of books. Yes, and return service get books like this. And let's actually make again, let's make so that everything produces application JSON like this, and let's create post method that will give you a book back and save book, and then in body you'll have a book itself, right? Book, and now you can call service add book like this, and then return book itself. So nothing special, just as is, as you can see it. And yeah, so let's see how it's working actually. Let's go to the terminal and let's call maven quarkus dev. And yeah, now we can see that it's starting, and let's actually call our book. I think we actually have books this time, and you can see that we have an empty collection right now, which is expected, right? So let's use a post we actually have already a book here, so we have a title test book, and then let's call pages to like this, right? 200. So yeah, so you can see that it's saved. We can call another one, and let's call the get method back, and we have okay, I made a small mistake. I forgot to put something into books, right? So we have here books, so you need to call add here, and you need to add the book itself, right? So we iterate, but we haven't stored anything. So yeah, I apologize for it. So let's go and post some more data. So you post something and you get it back, and you can see that I have 5 books. I retried a few times, so you can see that it's returning all the books that we have. So we can post one more time, test 3 for example, and let's get, and you can see that we have a test 3 book. So yeah, this is it. I won't cover the converters in this section, so you might imagine that you can automate it with using the converter. So for each class, for each data type, you can create a converter like in JSON or JSONB, but for Mongo, for the BSON. But this approach is not, it can be useful if you have 3 types, but each time you create a new object like this, you will need to create a converter for it and register it as well. So it's not like, it's not a go-to if you want to do it in a more friendly way like Spring does. So you can create basically with annotation of the data type. So what we'll cover in the next section is the panache, which is really useful in such situations. So I suggest you to see the next video as well before you're starting using your MongoDB. So this will work for some small applications. For a large one, where you have like 100 data objects, right? Data types. So this definitely not a go-to, right? So, and if you need to change something, right, you'll need to change it in a code as well. So if I want to create, for example, author, you'll need to put it here as well for the author, which is not a good thing. Even with converters, you'll need to update the object itself, even though you have it here. So you have it here, right? You have a private string author here, but you need to specify it in other places, which is not to go to. So so one more thing that I forgot to mention is how you can connect to the remote MongoDB, and it's really easy. So just add one key to the config, Quarkus MongoDB connection string equals, and then you put, for example, this one is from mlab. So I had this, so now it's unused MongoDB, but you can just specify here a password and the user and the password here. And you can see that it's basically the same as Grpc. You put a MongoDB and then you put login password basic auth at then domain port and the name of the database. So this is an example of how you can connect to remote MongoDB if needed. So now you know how to use Mongo basically, and I'll see you in the next video.